From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for March 2021. Definitely getting back in the swing of things. This is probably the most books I'll ever talk about, or not ever, but so far. One benefit is it's a 5 Wednesday month, which means we get 5 shipments of new comics in March. So lots and lots of stuff coming out. The other big thing is DC just did a huge, big event type thing, and it's affecting almost all their books. So I'm going to talk about those too. For the month, we're doing Captain America this month. Marvel is doing an 80th anniversary celebration, celebrating 80 years of Captain America. So that was kind of my signal to make it Captain America month. And we're going to do double points on all Captain America graphic novels. So we'll have a little display set up and point you in the direction of some great Captain America stories that are in print. So, not to dawdle, let's get on to the books. And we're going to start with DC this month. At the end of the year, or right at I think it was the first week in January, was the end of Dark Knight's Death Metal. And what happened was, basically they kind of rebooted their entire universe, or universes, and where before there were 52 multiverses in the DC universe, they now expanded it to infinite. So there's a new book coming out called Infinite Frontier, number 0, and that's a kind of a kickoff for everything, and that's coming out the first week of March. And that's going to explain where everything is going to be going and give you a little taste of each of the different kind of groups. You have a Justice League story, a Batman story, Superman, touching on everybody. To let you know kind of the idea of where those books and those stories are going to be headed. So in January and February, we had Future State, which was some short 2 or 4 issue stories talking about possible futures and things that you might see. So a lot of that's going to play in now going forward. So lots of stuff going on. But let's start talking about all the different books that are coming out in March from DC. So starting off Infinite Frontier. Like I said, this is a big book, big chunky, big stories, touching on almost all the different characters and what's going to be going on with them. Then getting a new Batman book, Batman Urban Legends. And what they've done is this is kind of an anthology book, letting different creators come in and take over and tell stories about different characters in the Bat universe. Batman might be the biggest name in Gotham City, but there are lots of other heroes and villains who will get a turn to shine in Batman Urban Legends, a brand new monthly series tying into the biggest events in Gotham City. Superstar writer Chip Zdarsky with Eddie Barrows do a 6-part story chronicling Red Hood's investigation of a new drug going through Gotham. You have Matthew Rosenberg picks up where he left off with his grifter story that he was doing in the Batman Future State book. There's a new Harley story. Batman artist Laura Braga and writer Stephanie Phillips are doing the launch of a new series, new Harley Quinn series. So they're touching on that in this book. So lots of stuff in an anthology book touching on like the Bat family and a lot of the villains that don't get enough play in the regular books. Talking of villains that don't get enough play, The Joker is getting a new series. This is by James Tynion and Gilliam March. And following the events of Infinite Frontier 0, the Joker is the most wanted man in the world. But the clown prince of crime is several steps ahead of law enforcement, and he's on the run overseas. James Gordon, facing retirement, realizes this is the manhunt of his life and the last piece of his storied career. But what mysterious deadly forces are also in pursuit of the Joker? And then they're also doing a backup story in this regarding Punchline and expanding her character a little bit. Harley Quinn, as I said, is getting a new series. Harley is coming back to Gotham City to make up for the sins of her past and help the city recover from the Joker War. Suicide Squad. Last Suicide Squad was a great run. I literally just last night ordered the graphic novel collecting the whole thing, so I heartily recommend that one. It was Tom Taylor. But now, spinning out of kind of the events of Future State, or leading up to the events of Future State, we're getting a new Suicide Squad book. Things have changed for Task Force X. As Peacemaker takes over as field leader, there will be more avenging or defending for the government's top secret task force of killers, thieves, and criminals. Amanda Waller, now back in control of the squad, sends a new squad into Arkham Asylum to recruit the deadly Court of Owls assassin Talon, while she interviews another new candidate, Superboy. They're also getting a new Swamp Thing book. Now, Ram V and Mike Perkins both did the Future State book, which was set way in the future. And he's doing a new 10-issue series, and it'll continue if it does well, explaining how we got to where we were in that book, which was really, really good. Swamp Thing returns in a new 10-issue series that stars Levi Kame as the next Guardian of the Green. Unable to control his transformation into the monstrous Swamp Thing, Levi is thrust into the harsh, unforgiving mystery of grisly murders committed by a supernatural desert legend. Levi must revisit past events in his homeland of India and face the deadly reality of a ravenous new villain in order to comprehend what he is truly and horrifyingly becoming. A new era of global action and horror blossoms here, and Swamp Thing will be at the root of it. Har har. So, we also have a new one, Teen Titans Academy. Now, the Teen Titans Future State book played a little bit in two different time frames. There was like the current, where they were in the future, and then they kept focusing back on something that happened. And the big thing is that Red X appeared in that book, and Red X was a character that was on the cartoon show, and this was his first appearance in the books. So now they're doing a new Teen Titans Academy series, which is going to focus a little bit on his blossoming and how we got where they were in Future State. Welcome to Teen Titans Academy. Packed with both new, superpowered teens and numerous dark secrets, Teen Titans Academy student body welcomes Shazam, a new Australian speedster, a trio of Gotham teen expatriates obsessed with Batman, and one member of this class will become the deadly Red X. The original Teen Titans, including Nightwing, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, take on the role of teachers and mentors for superpowered teams. Their goal, to shape the next generation of heroes. And now, getting into the Superman books, Bendis is off. He's gone over to Justice League. And Philip Kennedy Johnson has taken over both Superman and Action. He did the real good Wonder Woman Dead Earth series that people really liked. And he's now giving a shot to take over the Superman books. So they're kind of tying into one another. These first two it's a two-parter going between each book. And they also get a backup story. So a new creative team kicks off with a two-parter spanning Superman and Action Comics. In the Golden Age, Jonathan Kent steps back to examine his father's legacy. When a monstrous foe from outer space attacks Clark and nearly kills him, this young hero must consider the fact that his father died once before, and the Legion of Superheroes told him he could die again. Any threat could be the one, including this one. And in the new backup Tales of Metropolis story, follow Jimmy Olsen on a quest to meet some of the city's more colorful Denzians, beginning with Bibbo Bigowski. And then Action Comics 1029 reaches its conclusion in this issue that continues directly from Superman 29. Following an almost deadly attack by an alien foe, the new Superman realizes that any threat could be the one. Neither Superboy nor Superman knows what's behind the latest attack. 2 words: the Wall. Plus, in an all-new backup, Tales of Metropolis featuring Midnighter. So Batman is now kicking off a new storyline. Kind of wrapped up at the end of 105, and then it had its 2-month break, and it's coming back now with an all-new story. Following the tragic events of Infinite Frontier Zero, Batman and his new ally Ghostmaker must reckon with a new gang operating in Gotham City. But are they connected to the reemergence of the Scarecrow? Meanwhile, shadowy billionaire Simon Saint pitches an advanced law enforcement system to the new mayor. The creative team behind the epic Joker War returns with a thrill-packed, dangerous storyline called The Cowardly Lot. Plus, the backup story, Demon or Detective, begins as Damian Wayne is on the run. After everything he's gone through, can he escape Gotham and find his way back to where his journey started, to his mother, Talia al Ghul? This 2-part tale concludes in Detective Comics 1034. And in 1034 is new creative team of Mario Tamaki and Dan Mora. If you ever read any of the Claws books that were really popular here by Grant Morrison at Boom, Dan Mora was the artist on that. So he's taken over Detective, so it's going to look beautiful. With the loss of his fortune and manor, the election of Mayor Nakano, and the growing anti-vigilante sentiment in Gotham, Bruce Wayne must rethink how to be Batman, or risk being left behind in his own city. To make matters worse, the catastrophic crime wave has taken hold of the city, culminating in a murder mystery that hits close to home. The suspects mounts, the clues multiply, and the trail of bodies hasn't ended yet. And then in the second story, Damian meets his startling new faction from his family's checkered past. But what is the League of Lazarus? Batman Superman is also kicking off a new storyline and a new creative team. We have Gene Luen Yang and Ivan Rice taking over that book. In the aftermath of Death Metal, catch a glimpse of the brave new worlds within the DC universe. But what are these strange planets? As we delve into the parallel lives of the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight, we'll meet new villains, new heroes, alternate realities, and an trans-dimensional collision that you will need to see to believe. It's the dastardly debut of the cadre of new villains, including the Spider Lady and her poisonous webs, Dr. Adam, who sports a kryptonite pendant, and the maniacal machinations of the unknown wizard. So, lots of new characters, lots of new stuff going on. Justice League 59. This is Brian Michael Bendis taking over this one. Also getting a special variant covers because this issue is coming out the week of the drop of the new Justice League movie on HBO Max, the Snyder Cut. So we're getting some variant covers tying into the movie. So there'll be lots of books. A new team of Superman, Batman, The Flash, Hawkgirl, Aquaman, Hippolyta, and new DC powerhouse Naomi and Black Adam. Superman is leading the charge to reinvent the Justice League. And at the same time, a new cosmic-powered threat arrives from Naomi's homeworld to rule the Earth. And in the backup story, dark days lie ahead for Justice League Dark. Zatanna, Constantine take a road trip, only discover horror around the bend as a friend and sometimes foe is reborn in fire. The Nightwing 78, this also has a new creative team that I'm really excited about. Tom Taylor is taking over this book, and he's been fantastic on just about every book he's touched. So it's Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Nightwing is back, and his drive to keep Bloodhaven safe has never been stronger. But his adopted city has elected a new mayor with the last name Zuko. When Nightwing enlists Batgirl's help in investigating the politician bearing the same name as the man who murdered his parents, she unearths details that will shock and fundamentally change the hero. Wonder Woman is also getting a change. She probably changed the most through the end of Dark Knight's Death Metal and Infinite Zero. You have to read them to see what I'm talking about. But they have a new creative team of Becky Cloonan and Travis Moore on this book. What is happening? Wonder Woman just woke up in the middle of a battle with rampaging hordes of mythological beasts bearing down on her. Not even the princess of the Amazon can survive such an assault. But that's okay, it's just another day in Valhalla. The warriors here spend their days fighting and their nights drinking. And if they die in combat, they'll be resurrected in time for the party. It's up to Diana to find out what's going on in the sphere of the gods, and whether it has anything to do with what landed her in the Norse afterlife. Now we have a couple new books. We have Crime Syndicate, which is Earth 3, Ultraman and Superwoman, not Night Owl, but spinning out of the death metal, the multiverse is reborn, and Earth 3 with it. Witness the origins of the malevolent makers of mayhem known as the Crime Syndicate as a common foe unites them. But how long can alliances last between villains like these? We're also getting a Superman Red and Blue, which is kind of a companion piece to the Batman Black and White. It's just an anthology of stories by top creators telling the Superman stories they wanted to do. So this is coming out. It's a limited series. Also getting a sensational Wonder Woman book. This is a digital first book that they're finally printing. It's to celebrate Wonder Woman's 80th anniversary. This book will explore everything that makes Wonder Woman the sensation she is. During a battle with Dr. Psycho, Wonder Woman sacrifices herself to stop the villain, only to be hit with a psychic blast that traps her in an alternate reality. So that's the bulk of what we're getting from DC. A lot of the books are still continuing. These are the ones that had the big changes going on in them. So lots of good stuff, lots of interesting stuff. Make sure you pick up Infinite Frontier Zero to see where everything's going. It's kind of the roadmap to where the entire DC line is going to be heading for a while. Now we get to Marvel. Marvel's no slouch either. They have lots of stuff going on. The big thing with Marvel is that they're wrapping up King in Black, the big storyline that's touched a ton of different books. It's wrapping up with issue 5 in March. So we have King in Black 5, What's a God to a Non-Believer? And then Venom 34 is the final tie-in to this event, the next issue being 200, which is going to be a big oversized book. It's the end of Donny Cates' run on Venom, so he's no holds barred. That's going to be coming out in April, but this is the penultimate issue. Then we have some more one-shots tying in. We have King in Black, Wiccan, and Hulkling. They're on their honeymoon when Null and his army finds them in outer space, and they have to fight them. We have a King in Black Ghost Rider #1. The War for Hell's Throne meets the King in Black. All Ghost Rider wants is just to destroy Mephisto, round up an army of escaped demons, and secure his seat on the throne of hell. But now a dark god from space has shown up to throw his world into chaos, and some of Johnny's old friends have come to ask for his help. It may take everything they've got to stop this madness, maybe even the devil himself. So we also have King in Black Spider-Man, which is a one-shot all webbed up with no place to go. King in Black Scream, bringing the Scream character from, I think, started in the Absolute Carnage storyline. Does Scream have what it takes to put a dent in Null's symbiotic armor, or is this the end for Scream? And then more series finishing up some of their miniseries. We have King in Black Gwenom vs. Carnage 3, Thunderbolts 3, Namor 5, Return of the Valkyries 4, Planet of the Symbiotes 3, and then it's tying into Savage Avengers still with number 19, Fantastic Four 30, and Sword 4, and then it's wrapping up kind of the precursor story, the Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black 5. So we're going to wrap up King in Black in March. Marvel also has some new books coming. They're not going to let DC get all the fun. So we have a new Beta Ray Bill book. And spinning out of his involvement in King in Black, his hammer has been shattered by Thor for some reason. And Beta Ray Bill is tired of playing second fiddle to Thor, and with his famous hammer recently destroyed, tensions are higher than ever. He must now strike out and search for a new weapon and his new destiny. This is by Daniel Warren Johnson, who's done a lot of things. Really interesting art, very stylized art, but this should be a really good feature for him doing some outer space stuff. So this is going to be interesting. We have Thor and Loki Double Trouble. This is more of a kid's book, but it's about Thor and Loki getting into trouble. It's the same team that did the Spider-Man and Venom kids book. And the big one they have that they're really touting is Alien #1. Marvel now, Disney bought Fox and now has the rights to Alien, so Marvel is going full bore. Philip Kennedy Johnson and Salvador Larroca. The iconic cinematic terror makes its Marvel debut. So new Alien series, and then I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Alien in other books coming up soon. Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade. This is by Cy Spurrier. Black Knight played a role in King in Black because of his ebony blade, and now he's getting his own miniseries. Dane Whitman is the Black Knight and wielder of the magical ebony blade, but the blade's power comes at a terrible price. Dane forever bears the burden of its curse, an insatiable lust for blood and mayhem that constantly threatens to swallow its owner into darkness. Following the battle against the King in Black, a reinvigorated Dane has a greater sense of purpose than ever before. Trials of Ultraman is coming. We just had The Rise of Ultraman. He narrowly averted a catastrophe decades in the making. The world was saved, but also forever changed. Now comes the consequences. So now he has to go through these trials to keep the world safe. Carnage is getting a little treatment. Similar to the Batman Black and White, we had Wolverine Red, White, and Blood, and now we're also getting Carnage Red, White, and Blood. Within the cerebral chaos caused by Carnage, brought to life by some of the greatest creators at Marvel. Also getting a Silk #1. Silk is Spider-Man's sister that he didn't know he had. By day, Cindy Moon is an intrepid reporter working for J. Jonah Jameson. By night, she's Silk, crime-fighting superhero. But those worlds are about to collide as an investigation into a series of gangland murders puts Silk and everyone she loves in danger. And as I said before, we have a Captain America tribute issue this month celebrating 80 years of Captain America with a big anthology with lots of creators writing their favorite Captain America stories. Also have America Chavez is back. Kind of a character that started in Young Avengers, and they're giving her a little more spotlight. America Chavez is incredible. Her origins, her strength, her dimensional shattering portals. But when the foundation of everything she believes is shaken, America will stand up and face the parts of herself she's been running from. Also have a new X-Men book, Demon Days X-Men. This is by Peach Momoko. She's been a real superstar on covers, and she's finally doing the inside of this one. It's a 5-issue, but it's quarterly, so be ready it's going to take a while. A wandering swordswoman with a psychic blade arrives at a village that's being targeted by demons. A revolutionary reimagination of the Marvel Universe that could only come from Peach Momoko. We also have Children of the Atom. This is Vita Ayala and Bernard Chang. When did the X-Men get sidekicks? Don't miss the debut of the greatest teenage superhero team of all time, because Marvel's not known for their hyperbole. We have Deadpool Nerdy 30. It's the 30th anniversary of Deadpool, so he's getting a special anniversary issue by a lot of top creators. And then to celebrate Man-Thing's 50th anniversary, there's a lot of anniversaries, we have Avengers Curse of the Man-Thing, which is also going to go then into a Spider-Man Curse of the Man-Thing, and then another one, I think X-Men. But for decades, Man-Thing has haunted the Florida Everglades. Now a new enemy has hijacked his body on a quest to take his incendiary abilities global. Amazing Spider-Man 61 is notable because Peter gets a new job and Spidey gets a new look. We're getting a new costume for Spider-Man, which happens all the time, but they're making a big deal about this one. And then we're finally getting Nonstop Spider-Man #1. This one was supposed to come out a year ago, and it's been pushed off, but it's finally coming out. Buckle up, Tiger. Get ready for the most action-packed, pulse-pounding, adrenaline-pumping comic of all time, ever. So that's what Marvel has going on. Lots of stuff from the other guys, too. Image has some really big ones. Carmen is a new one from Gilliam March. A story about a highly unconventional angel named Carmen and the young woman she takes under her wing when a case of heartbreak strikes hard. Packed with surprises and metaphysics, this gorgeously drawn series deploys tenderness and humor as it dives deep into topics that matter. We also have Noctera. This is a big one. Scott Snyder going back into the creator-owned world. He grabbed Tony Daniel, who worked a ton on Batman over the years. 10 years after the world plunged into everlasting night that turns all living creatures into monstrous shades, the only way to survive is to stay close to artificial light. Enter Val Riggs, a skilled ferryman who transports people and gods along deadly unlit roads with her heavenly illuminated 18-wheeler. We also have Shadecraft. Zadie Liu is afraid of her own shadow. She's a teenager, so she really should have grown out of it by now, right? But something weird is happening in her small town. Zadie could swear the shadows are coming to life, watching her, trying to kill her. But how do you fight something you can't even touch? And how does all of this tie into her family, of all things? And we have Ultra Mega by James Herron. A cosmic plague has spread, transforming everyday people into violent, monstrous kaiju. Only the Ultra Mega, 3 individuals imbued with incredible powers, hold the line against this madness. Their battles level cities and leave untold horror in their wake. Now the final reckoning approaches for the Ultra Mega, but is this a war even they can win? So basically big smashing, fighting, super explodey type book. Dark Horse has some new ones. We have Orphan and the Five Beasts by James Stokoe, another very distinctive artist who's done a lot of really neat things. He did a great run on Godzilla for a while. Spurred on by her master's dying words, the adopted warrior Orphan Mo seeks to find and kill the 5 former disciples who now threaten the land with corruption from their demonic powers. We're getting a new Critical Role book, if you're a fan of that, Tales of Exandria. Dead Dog's Bite. I'm looking forward to this one because by Tyler Boss. Tyler Boss was the artist on 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, and I had a chance to meet him a couple times, and he's just a really nice guy. And he has his own book finally coming out. This has been a long time waiting. Sir Mac Guffin has gone missing. It's been 3 days and no one has seen hide nor hair of her. The police have nothing and the townsfolk are acting more like a funeral procession than a search party. If Cormac has any hope of being found, it rests in the slouching shoulders of her best friend Joe. We also have a new God of War book based on the video game. This takes place after God of War 3. Can a man ever be free of his past? Can the tides of time ever wash away the bloody sands of sin? So we'll see how that works out for the God of War. Dark Age is also a video game book and an RPG book. There's the next chapter of that. Dark Fortress is coming. Lady Baltimore is a new one from Mike Mignola's Mignolaverse, and Lady Baltimore is taken over after the death of Lord Baltimore to fight his fights. Moving on to Dynamite. We have Vampirella versus Purgatory, the unholy alliance you prayed never would happen. And then they also have James Bond, Agent of Spectre, when a rogue Spectre agent goes rogue and wants to depose Blofeld, which would open the world to all untold horrors of all the sins he's created and all the things he knows. Blofeld recruits James Bond, or actually blackmails him into helping him escape and keep that from happening. So, a new James Bond story. Red Sonja 25 is the next chapter. Mark Russell's series ended at 24, so 25 is a new story with a new creative team. And there's a Deja Thoris Winter's Edge one-shot. Boom has a bunch of stuff coming too. Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness. The secret origins of Astronema is revealed finally. Proctor Valley Road is a chilling new horror series about the mysterious monsters that haunt Proctor Valley Road and the 4 misfit teenagers who must stop them. Interesting thing about this one is it's written by Grant Morrison. Here's the first thing he's done at Boom. Firefly, brand new verse, is 20 years after the events of Firefly, and it's the Serenity, the ship, is back out there, and the new pilot is Emma, the daughter of Wash and Zoe. And then there's a new Jim Henson Storytellers focusing on the trickster stories of mythology throughout the world. Ablaze has a new one, Eros and Psyche from Maria Lovett, she's done a lot of things with them that have been really popular. Aftershock has a couple. We have Bequest. This is Tim Seeley and Freddie Williams, where this is a story of welcome to the high fantasy world of Tangia, a land where wizards and warriors battle dragons in dark, dank dungeons, while thieves pillage ancient ruins and priests answer audible words of their great gods. Welcome to Chicago, where the magical items from Tangia are being traded on the black market and are messing everything up. Now a group of Tangia adventurers must come undercover into our world to stop these artifacts and monsters from causing death and destruction. And there's another Undone by Blood book. Basically, it's set in the 30s, and a postman living in the Depression, his life has turned miserable, and he decides to take vengeance. And he also has this Western novel that he reads and takes information from and gets hints of what to do from this book. So, the first one I think got optioned for a movie, so they're doing another series. AWA, who has been hugely successful here, everybody that tries it really, really likes it. They have a new one called Chariot. The Chariot was a Cold War-era secret government project to provide its star agent with a weapon unlike any other in the form of a supercharged muscle car. It sank into the ocean decades ago, and the agent along with it. Now a petty criminal looking to reform his life has stumbled upon Chariot, and he's about to find out that the agent's consciousness is still controlling it in this synthwave thriller. Bad Idea is finally coming out. We've been hearing about him for a long time. And the first issue of ENIAC is finally coming out in March. There's Matt Kint and Doug Braithwaite doing this one. 77 years ago, the United States unlocked the key to defeating the Axis powers, but in their desperation to end the war created a far more powerful threat, ENIAC, the world's first supercomputer. America has inadvertently created the first artificial intelligence without ever realizing the full extent of its abilities or its ambitions. Black Mask is back. They have a new one called Destiny New York. Logan grew up in a boarding school for kids with magical prophecies, but she's fulfilled her destiny so young that she's having a midlife crisis in her 20s. Mad Cave has a new one called Nottingham. In this twisted medieval noir, the sheriff of Nottingham has a serial killer with a penchant for tax collectors. The sheriff's investigation makes him the target of England's most nefarious power brokers, to say nothing of the Merry Men, a terrorist group hiding in Sherwood Forest, led by the enigmatic Hood. Oni has a new one that's interesting. It's Jonna and the Unpossible Monsters. This is the first thing Chris Samnee has done on his own. Rainbow has been searching for her sister Jonna for a year. Last time she saw her was when she first saw one of the monsters that now roam the planet. They're big, ugly, and dangerous creatures driving humanity to the brink of extinction. How long will it take Rainbow to find her sister, who she thinks is still out there? SourcePoint Press has a neat one called Cult of Dracula. Dracula, I guess, just hit the public domain, so you're going to see a lot of Dracula stuff. And this one is Special Agent Malcolm Brand arrives in the House of the Rising Sun. This secluded compound is home to the secretive Ordo Dracul cult in the scene of a horrendous crime. Mina Murray lands a documentary film crew to uncover the secrets of the mysterious cult by interviewing its enigmatic leader, Robert Renfield. Neither investigator is prepared for the gravity of the truths they will uncover. And then finally, the last new #1 that's coming out this month is Witchblood. This is from Vault. A modern Wild West road trip about a witch named Yana cruising the Southwest as a band of bloodthirsty biker vampires hunt her scattered coven for the source of all magic, Witchblood. So lots and lots of stuff going on in March. I'm excited. We have an extra week of books, so lots of stuff spread out over the whole month. If you need looking for me, the website's pittsburghcomics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
Once upon a time, humans and yokai lived in peace. Yokai spirits of earth and air, fire and water, life and death, were myriad in form. Like humans, they could be benevolent or mischievous. Some yokai, like the massive ogres called Oni, coexisted with humanity, so long as humans stayed in their villages and Oni in their mountains. Balance was maintained. But humans were greedy. They expanded their territory, cutting down forests and flattening mountains. Oni saw their lands vanish. Starving, they were left with no choice but to raid human villages for food. The balance was broken. Oni became the stuff of nightmares. They raided without mercy. Humans, afraid and unaware they were to blame, began to fight back. Oni and the humans were at war. Until one day, deep in the woods of a foggy mountain, humans and Oni learned to put down their swords and live together again. This is their story, the tale of Kurosaki Mountain. On the night of our story, beneath the light of the moon and stars, Oni again raided for food.
Suki, child, please. There's nothing you can do. I have to try.
Suki-chan!
Suki, don't go. It's running away. Why?